If you can't clearly explain why clients should choose you, don't be surprised when they choose someone else or choose based on price. In this video, I'm going to show you how to start thinking about your law firm's unique selling proposition so that potential clients understand why you're the right lawyer for their specific problem. I'm going to answer three questions. Number one, how to determine what actually makes you different from your competitors. And here's the key, it's probably not just your years of experience, your credentials, or the fact that you care about your clients. Number two, why those clients should choose you because of those differences. Because being different isn't enough. Your difference has to connect to something the client actually cares about. And number three, how do you communicate those differences in your marketing and consultations? Because your unique selling proposition shouldn't be buried in your bio or trapped inside your head. It should show up on your website, in your videos, in your referral conversations, and in the way you explain your value during a consultation. Think about the last time you stood in a grocery store aisle looking at 3 or 4 versions of basically the same product. Maybe it was pasta sauce. Maybe it was bottled water or cereal. If they all look the same, make the same basic claims, and seem to solve the same basic problem, how do you choose? A lot of people choose based on price. Or maybe they choose the one with the better label, or the one they've heard of before, or the one that just feels a little easier to trust in the moment. Now, I know that legal services are not pasta sauce, but from the client's perspective, the decision can feel similar. They may be looking at 3 or 4 lawyers who all say they're experienced, dedicated, responsive, aggressive, compassionate, and client focused. And if every lawyer sounds the same, the client is left trying to figure out the differences on their own. That's where price starts to become a bigger part of the conversation. Not always because the client is cheap, but because the lawyer hasn't given them a clearer way to understand value. That's why your unique selling proposition matters. It's the answer to the question the client may never ask out loud, but is absolutely thinking. Why should I choose you instead of another lawyer? And the better you can answer that question in a way that matters to the client, the easier it becomes for the right client to see you as the right choice. I've had consultations where I could tell the person wasn't just deciding whether they needed a lawyer. They were deciding which lawyer made them feel the most confident, the most understood, and the most comfortable moving forward. And that's the real issue. The client isn't only asking, are you qualified? They're asking, why should I trust you with this problem instead of someone else? That is exactly what happens in the legal market. A potential client looks at 3 or 4 lawyers and they all say some version of the same thing: experienced, dedicated, aggressive, compassionate, client focused, etc. Now, none of those things are bad. You should be experienced, you should care, you should communicate. But if every other lawyer is saying the same thing, those words don't help the client choose you. Generic claims don't create differentiation. They may be true, but they're not enough. The issue isn't whether you're good at what you do. The issue is whether the potential client can clearly understand what makes you different in a way that matters to them. So let's define this simply. Your unique selling proposition is not a slogan, it's not a clever tagline, and it's not your bragging about how great you are. It's your clear answer to this question: why should this client choose you instead of another lawyer? And the key phrase is this client, not every client, not every legal problem, the client you actually want to attract and serve. A strong USP is specific, it's client centered, and it's relevant to the kind of client you want more of. It's not about claiming to be better than everyone. It's about helping the right client understand why you may be the right fit for their specific problem. Here's where many lawyers get this wrong. They talk about what makes them impressive, but the clients want to know what makes them safer, clearer, more confident, or better protected. So instead of saying, I have 25 years of experience, you might say, because I've handled this type of problem for more than 25 years, I can help you avoid common mistakes and understand what to expect before you make major decisions. That connects your experience to something the client actually cares about. Instead of saying, we provide personalized services, you might say, you'll know what's happening, what comes next, and what we need from you at each stage of the case. Now the client understands what personalized service actually means. Instead of saying, we're aggressive, you might say, we're strategic about when to negotiate, when to push, and when to avoid unnecessary conflict that only costs you more time and money. That gives the client a clear picture of your approach. So don't just state the feature, connect that feature to the client benefit. And here's a simple test that you can use in your marketing and in your consultations. Every time you make a claim about your firm, ask, so what? We have experience. So what? We communicate with clients. So what? We focus on this area of law. So what? If you can't connect the claim to something the client actually cares about, then you haven't finished the thought. For example, we have experienced. So what? Well, that means we can help you understand the likely issues earlier and avoid mistakes that could cost you later. We communicate with clients. So what? That means that you're not left wondering what's happening, what comes next, or what you're supposed to do. We focus on family law. So what? I'm coming to a family lawyer. Well, that means our systems, strategy, and client communication are built around the specific problems people face in divorce and custody matters. That so what test forces you to translate lawyer centered claims into client centered value. And that's the shift. Your job is not to convince everyone to hire you. Your job is to make it easier for the right client to understand why you're the right choice. That might be your process. It might be your focus on a particular type of client. It might be the way you communicate. It might be how you reduce confusion. But whatever it is, you need to make it clear. You don't need to be better than everyone. You need to be clearly better suited for the right client with the right problem. For example, for business owners going through divorce, we focus on protecting both family outcome and the business reality. Or for clients who want to avoid unnecessary conflict, we use a strategic process designed to resolve what can be resolved and fight only where it matters. Or for injured clients overwhelmed by insurance companies, we give them a clear plan, handle the communication, and keep them informed at every stage. Those statements are much stronger than just saying we care about our clients. They give the client the right reason to see the lawyer as a better fit. And that brings us back to price. When clients can't see a meaningful difference, price becomes one of the easiest things to compare. But when they understand your process, your approach, your focus, and why those things matter to their situation, price is no longer the only thing they're evaluating. That's how you stop sounding like every other lawyer, and that's how you start becoming the more obvious choice for the clients you actually want.